Okay, so we've been on a crazy hot streak, and honestly, I can't do more than glaze myself. I mean, in a world where other channels believe that both Archons would be in the same phase, here I am standing out like a black sheep and still being correct. But yeah, that's enough glazing from me, because let's be honest, we've been slightly wrong from time to time. I'm only human after all. I only work on analysis and not such dark magic. Errors are bound to happen. So yeah, as the thumbnail says, this video will cover the full banner lineup from 6.2 all the way up to 6.5, because well, we simply can. But let's be honest, 6.5 is quite far out, so the best I can do is talk about the technically confirmed Archon to appear, as well as the character rerun we can expect alongside them. You shouldn't expect that patch prediction to be 100% on point. One thing that I know is 100% on point is this segue to my partner, Ldshop. Look, we all love Black Friday discounts, but sadly it usually happens late in the year. Well, you don't have to wait when you have Ldshop around, because right now you can save up to 30% on all your top-ups. With a $100 top-up going for $70 and even a Welkin going for $3.69, nice one, LD. Anyways, I've used them for my top-ups and giveaways and I haven't faced any issues. And hey, I got a free Welkin after spending over $80 this month, even though it was just the cost of all the Welkin I've given away this month. Honestly, it's free savings with no risks attached. So use my link down below to grab your juicy discounts. Okay, with that said, let's quickly go over the confirmed 6.1, since some people might have missed the live stream. In 6.1, we are expecting Nefer and Lady Furina in the first phase, and then in the second phase, we can expect the elegance herself, Arlecchino, and then Zhongli. Now, the only new 5-star character is Nefer. Nefer is a Dendro DPS who is expected to outperform Kinich, at least when he's not in burning teams. With that said, she is made to be very powerful Bloom DPS. Therefore, it's pretty obvious that she's made to be paired with Llama. So much so that the fandoms are already shipping them together. Honestly, I can't blame them. The fan arts are quite cute. Anyway, I was gonna cover the 4 stars, but let's be honest, there's really no need to divulge in the 4 stars. So let's hop over to 6.2. As always, I'll explain my analysis in a way that you will understand and reason alongside with me. Starting with the Archons, as always, we know that the patterns for Archons are quite easy. Playovers usually rerun Archons in the pattern of how long they've awaited a rerun. Also, the Archon of a particular region must, and I mean must, rerun in that region one more time. So after checking the previous patterns, it shows that Venti is the longest awaiting Archon, therefore he's bound to be here. Now, before going over the other 3 characters, I should sweep away the main confusion in town, and that is the expectation of a Mondstadt Chronicle wish in 6.2. First of all, I don't know where they're getting that info from, but in my own view, it's all speculation. For me, with the Summoner Chronicle banner that just happened 2 patches ago, I really doubt Genshin would run another Chronicle this close to each other. Even looking at previous patterns, we can see that they only ever run a Chronicle banner in the first half patches of the region, which is 0.5 and below, and then they feature another Chronicle banner in the second half patches of the region. So for now, no Chronicle banner in sight. With that said, let's go over the remaining 3 characters. First and foremost, we have Varesa. As I've told you guys, the first rerun of a new character always happens 4 to 6 patches after their original debut. Since Varesa ran in a 5.5, then she is simply due to run in 6.2. No questions asked. The third character we will have in 6.2 will be Durin. I mean, let's be honest, he's basically confirmed already. So far, all we know about him is the fact that he's a pyro character who is mainly made to be both a buffer and a sub DPS. His kit basically gets better with the number of hexagonal members in the team, so keep that in mind. Now, I have recently just learned a pattern which greatly assists us in understanding these characters. The pattern is, whenever you want to determine the role of a character in the team, like support, DPS, or even sub DPS, the earliest way to know is by their actions in the cutscenes. The more aggressive and confident they are, the more likely they are to be a DPS. We saw this with Mavuika, Arlecchino, Nilevet, and many more characters. On the other hand, the calmer or submissive they are, the more likely they are to be a support. We saw this in Llama, Furina, and many other characters. Honestly, I've been looking into it for a while, and it just makes sense. So judging from the Durin appearance in the 6.1 trailer, I'd say his burst is made purely for damage dealing, while his skills are made for supporting. Still, a lot of changes are being made to his kit even before the beta release, so it's safe to say that he's a mixed bag. Anyway, let's move on to the last character of 6.2. This is where it gets quite tough. Personally, I'm expecting either Escoffie, as it have been 5 patches since her last rerun, or Navia. But to be honest, I'm leaning more into Escoffie as she really just outclassed Navi in terms of sales revenue the last time she reran. We all know they're a profit-oriented company, therefore they'd want to run the fresh and popular characters. My instinct tells me that the next Chronicle banner we'll get is for Fountaine, and not even Mondstadt. I mean, take a look at this. In 4.5 we got Mondstadt Chronicle banner, in 5.3 we got the Lue banner, in 5.6 we got Inazuma, and then in 6.0 we got the Sumeru Chronicle. So you see, it follows the order in which they released the region. So as you might have guessed, Fountaine is next, and that's where you can expect Navia. If everything goes as planned, then we can expect it in 6.5 or above. So yes, in 6.2 we can expect Varesa and Durin in the first phase. Durin is there because he's a new character, and they always run in the first phase. And while in the second phase we can expect Venti and Escoffie. Now, I know some data miners talk about Neuvillette coming in 6.2, but to be honest, I can't really back it up right now. Moving on to 6.3, we have Neuvillette. He's simply here because Furina ran in 6.1. As we've seen since Neuvillette's first debut, Furina always ran 2 patches before or after him. Since Furina ran in 6.1, we can simply expect Nuvi in 6.3. It also makes more sense when we realize that Durin is being featured in a patch right before him, thus following the support before the DPS rule. I should point out, in the latest kit changes, it seems Durin has lost his Hydro Res Shred, but if he still retains his amazing Pyro application, then perhaps he can still work with Nuvi. Speaking about Nuvi, it makes extra sense when you realize that data miners point at Nuvi getting a new skin in Lantern Rite, which as you guessed is going to happen right in 6.3. They'd obviously want to run the character during or after the time they release a skin for them. Anyway, for the second character, let's talk about the Archon. The Archon we can expect is obviously Columbina. So far from the trailers and from the leaks, she is greatly leaning towards being a support, which will obviously be a DPS at high constellations. The third character we can expect is Skirk. She's here simply because it's been a while since her original run, which will be 5 patches to be exact. With Escoffie running 1 patch before her, she also follows the support before the DPS rule. Now the last character we can expect is the Lantern Rite special character, the Gold-Eyed Adeptus. Not so much info is known about her, so yeah, we'll let that be. She is expected to be a Mino though, so that's one thing to keep track of. So, for 6.3 we are expecting Columbina and Skirk in the first phase, followed by the new Adeptus character and Neuvillette in the second phase. Now, Columbina is in the first phase simply because she's an Archon, and it's her first time being featured in the banners, while Skirk is alongside Columbina simply in preparation of Columbina being a support. As always, we know that Hoyoverse loves pairing 2 characters who complement each other. They truly aren't ever random. So if Columbina does stick with her expected role, then we can definitely expect Skirk to be beside her. So yeah, with all that said, I don't really have any reason to explain the second phase since it's basically forced at this point. So finally, let's move on to 6.4 before rushing over 6.5. In 6.4, we can expect Raiden to make her rerun, simply because she's the longest awaiting Archon. Second on the list, we have Varka. Now, for you Varka wanters out there, you might want to listen closely. So Varka is basically confirmed for 6.4. He's an amino DPS who is expected to be a limited 5-star character. So yeah, to some extent, all the allegations of him being standard have been killed. Although, being honest, we all knew the chances of him being a standard 5-star was very slim. Now, since we are in the 6.4 beta testing, it'd actually be difficult for us to get more confirmed information about him. But first, I have a serious issue with him that I have to address. You see, whenever a DPS is releasing, we'd have been seeing crumbs about their support. Mavuika has hers, Satali and the likes, even Skirk got Escoffie, but for Varka, we've got nothing. Now, I'm not trying to say he's a support, but something is definitely up about him, especially when he's amino, an element that lacks proper buffers in the 5-star category. Anyway, moving on, the third character we can expect is Zolonin. Why? I hear you ask. Well, that's simple. You see, we are guaranteed to get Mavuika in the 6.5, so it's the simple support before the DPS rule. For the fourth character, we can expect a Nefer. Hoyoverse knows that Flynn's sales were decent, so those who didn't pull for a Nefer, but pulled for Flynn's, would likely be desperate to get his savior. So yeah, what better way than to rerun her missed other buffer? It's all to force you to spend money on pool, and they love that. So yes, in 6.4, we're probably gonna have Varka and Zolonin in the first phase, and then Escoffie and Raiden in the second phase. Explaining the reasoning behind their phases would take too much of our time, so let's leave that as that. Now, for 6.5, we'll be quick as I can't guarantee the accuracy of this patch. First of all, we have the Archon. Mavuika is taking this slot, simply no questions asked. For the second character, we can expect reruns of Natlan characters. As we've seen from previous regions, you get reruns of the popular characters of the region before that region. In Natlan, we got Navia and Arlecchino, and other popular Fountaine characters. So in 6.5, we can expect Chaska, Satali, and maybe even Mualani to make their rerun. I can guarantee Chaska and Satali for 6.5 or 6.6. The only one I can't guarantee is Mualani. She's a great DPS, sure, but even Hoyoverse knows that milking that damage out of her is quite difficult for an average user who just wants to have fun. So yeah, we'll leave 6.5 like that. That was a fun ride. If you've watched till here, then thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to catch your savings at my partner, Ldshop. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!